Jeremy, we're back with Halo
To
the
move on,
3rd.
Spartans and elites.
We're here
The commander
playing
will brief
Halo
you as you
3
go.
in Crow's Nest. Definitely not a super long time after we recorded the previous episode. Definitely not.
Commander.
Ages
and of course,
ages.
you know, it's just you and I and not anyone else. Wait a second. We've got a third person here. Garrett, introduce yourself.
Hello,
Should
I
be all
am
right.
Garrett.
Stay sharp.
This is Garrett.
Or Dark
Garrett's-
Rat.
Or the
Dark
Dark
Rat. Yeah, who's also Garrett. But Dark Rat Garrett is here to play some Halo 3 with us today. He's our special guest because Halo 3 was the first Halo game to have
You know
more
something
than
changes.
2-player co-op. Fun fact. This way.
All the fun facts.
Perimeter's this way.
And now we
Yes.
go do things.
Yes, we have to
Come on, sir. I'll show you the
help
way.
evacuate the base. That's what we're doing.
Why would we do that?
Because the Covenant is attacking Earth, and now we gotta get people out so that we can live to fight another day. I think is kind of the basic overview of this. I've kind of forgotten what this whole series is about, but this is Legendary Halo 3 edition. We're playing through Halo 3 on the Legendary difficulty because that's something we've never really done as a group or as a partnership here of 3 people. We gotta go this way.
A partnership
Oh,
of 3.
A partnership of 3.
Good. This channel is secure. My fire team.
We really feel like having a third person here is really gonna improve our chat, our very good chemistry.
No, they all died!
The confidence is astounding.
Yeah. I forgot, even though I literally just said it 20 seconds ago. We're playing Legendary, and that's way harder than the other difficulties. Behind the scenes look, it's actually been an extremely long time since Jeremy and I have been doing this. Jeremy, do you remember when the last time we recorded an episode was? The previous episode?
Oh, I died, so that's nothing new. Oh gosh, the last time? I mean,
It's been a little bit.
we have, as of recording, we hadn't even posted the first episode of Halo 3.
Yeah.
And so...
That's because I knew we'd get back to it.
So... I mean, that had to have been back in, like, September or October.
Yeah, and it's January 2021.
Some things happened, you know.
Yeah. You know, it's been an eventful couple of days, and we needed some video games to play.
Absolutely.
Oh, people who are watching this in the future are going to be like, "What happened?" and hopefully have forgotten about it all.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Anyways,
It's
Garrett-
not important.
Now, Garrett, as our special guest, you have a very extended Halo history yourself, in that
I do.
you've not had any Halo history other than a little bit of this game.
That's true. This
And
the
why is
first
that?
game I've played. I've always been a Sony player, so the only Halo I ever got to play was Sunday mornings at church, or before youth group, or
Oh,
at a
man.
friend's house.
Sunday mornings at church. That's
Yeah, yeah.
that's
So-
not something you would think you would hear in the same sentence.
I know.
No.
I never told
Now-
my parents either. I was like maybe 13 at the time.
It is still wild to me that our church had an Xbox for one, but also Halo that we could play just on like Sundays or during youth group. That is just bonkers to me.
It's very true.
Like, you know, in high tech, these games aren't like super violent, at least compared to other games. Oops, sorry, I thought you were a bad guy, Garrett, so I shot you.
Death number 2.
I'm actually doing really good right now.
I think I'm gonna start
Nope,
keeping
just
track
kidding.
of that, like how many deaths I have.
Oh, that's a. Oh wow, that is a bad checkpoint.
Oh no!
But as I was saying,
no!
the Halo games are not the most violent games out there. Like, relatively speaking, there are much more violent games. I mean, you got like your Gears of Wars and other violent games from the same era. But like, yeah, I had friends who weren't allowed to play these games around the same time I was playing them.
Yeah.
So it's still kind of a shock to me that our church had them, that we could just play whenever.
That's number
with
3.
very little very little supervision.
That's true.
I am a-
It was probably the best. Like, I would always make sure we were early to church, knowing that
Pelicans can't launch
I would
until
get some
the
Halo in.
Huh.
It's probably
You
something
saw-
like bad, but I learned so much.
Yeah, you saw a whole world in front of you of games that you couldn't play, or a game that you couldn't play. Let's be honest, Halo's about the only worthwhile experience to like solely have an Xbox for.
It was the first game I got for the PC, so I definitely feel that.
Yeah, you are a recent convert to the PC family.
I am.
How was the building process?
It was unique.
Yeah.
So my family thinks I'm way more techie than I am, and I'm not. And I had to ask help from 4 different people.
Yeah, I laugh at that because I was one of those people that helped.
Yes.
Uh,
But don't get me wrong, it was fun. Like, I loved. That's a strong word. It was new, but it was cool to like buy the parts and be like, hey, I'm making this how I want to do it.
Yeah.
It feels more personal, which I guess is the
yeah.
point.
Yeah, building PCs it's the first one is never fun. It's always a really hard experience, but like after that, it gets a lot easier. Like this PC that I'm playing on is my second PC, and it was way easier to put the second one together, and I actually had fun doing it.
That makes sense. Yeah, I had some issues once mine was set up, and I
Done already?
had to take it apart, and I was like, oh, I know how to do this now. And it felt empowering.
Yeah, sure.
It felt good.
Let me on the ship.
We have to go back now and defend the other side of the base.
But why? I want to abandon everyone.
You are a bad Master Chief. We're... boy. Let's go, team. I'm the Arbiter. Am I the Arbiter?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Garrett, you are a generic alien.
Wow.
I'm the cool alien that gets kind of a name. It's really more of a title, but still counts. We're getting ready to fight my least favorite enemies in this game. Second least favorite enemies in this game.
Hostiles reported outside the barracks.
Well, I have a brute shot.
Watch out.
What?
Oh, I did it again.
I have a brute shot. I'm ready to kill you as soon as I can.
All available.
You know, these videos, it can't be a true legendary video unless I kill you.
This is very accurate. Jeremy has an incredible ability to just kill me off.
Sir, this way.
Okay, here we go. Second worst enemies in the game. I hate these things. Oh my gosh! See, that's why I hate them. They just destroy me.
Number 4.
Counting your deaths in Legendary is just a losing game against mortality. In more ways than one.
I'm alive.
Garrett, I am impressed. I saw that you were using a keyboard and mouse.
Yes.
Before
number 5.
we had talked about, playing games, and you had never understood the allure of it based on what I was reading from what you had said, and it sounded like you were always going to be a...
Number 6.
Jeez, Jeremy. I just saw like a million plasma bolts just shooting at you. It was like, oh, jeez. He dead.
Do I get back?
Ah, I'm dead. So, Garrett, all that to say, I'm very proud of you for trying something out.
Well, my PS4 controller doesn't always work, and I've never like understood why you would do it, but it is fascinating.
Fascinating.
So I figured, why not try?
Yeah. Got the last one.
Yay.
Hook up a timer, it might go off all by itself.
Yeah, I find they're much easier to play shooters with. Like I will play like third person action adventure games only with controller. That just feels so much more intuitive to me. It feels way more simple. But like first person shooters, that is a keyboard and mouse only endeavor for me.
It might become
Ouch.
one.
Don't do that. What are you doing? Yeah.
Dang it.
All right, this way.
I was hoping that would kill you in one hit.
Is there a melee button?
Yeah.
Yes. Don't ask me what it is because I've had to rebind all of my controls.
And I'm using a controller, so I don't know.
Mine is F, but I don't know if that's the default. Oh,
Nope, that's the
Yep.
grenades.
it might be G. I changed grenade to G because literally every other literally every other PC game in existence that is a first-person shooter uses G for grenade because why wouldn't
7.
you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ooh, that's good combo.
Oh, 8.
Oh.
Hello, darkness,
Oh
my
my
old
gosh.
friend.
Well, all right. Let's try that again, but do it better.
We be better.
I think this part's the hardest part in the level. I remember struggling with this area a lot when I did my legendary playthrough. Ah. Focus fire. Oh, a flare. Good. I got a flare. The most useless of the equipments. Oh, that sucks. I threw a spike grenade, and just as I threw it, the guy tossed out a bubble shield and blocked me.
That is quite unfortunate.
What?
So Garrett, did you ever normally when we would play Halo at youth group and at church, it was always multiplayer. So did you ever get a chance to play the story?
Yeah, so I had a friend that got Halo 3 when it first came out, and we played the story. So, I guess I don't think Halo 3 was the first one I played multiplayer-wise, but it's the only campaign I've ever finished.
Oh, run away.
Gravity hammer!
Where'd he go?
He went above.
He's okay. There we go. Now he's not invincible.
Ah!
I had a shotgun.
Ah! Down for the count.
Someone else. Yeah, someone else can have that. My gun's back.
Things are exploding.
All right. Hardest part of the level. Done. We did it. First try.
Oh, poor
you
dude.
You never played any of the previous Halos, right?
Right.
Those are good ones too. All right, just run. This part sucks. Just run. Or this part can suck if you don't. Just keep running. Run and jump.
But there's no run button.
That's good. Because the Halos that added the run button are not as good.
Indeed. Oh, I hear death. Oh, death number 9.
I'm impressed you're keeping track. That's something I'd be like, hey, audience who's watching, keep track of my deaths and put it in the comments.
You'd be like,
Because-
you counted wrong. That's what they'll say.
Let me scare
You
Now-
know, our huge fan community
That's probably
seems
what will
like something we
happen.
could really leverage.
That's probably what will happen with me. Someone will be like, nope, you missed one. Oh, number 10.
I think I got the guys in there. I tossed in a grenade.
Ah!
Focus fire! There we go. This game's easy peasy when there's 3 of you.
I really, really hate those hairballs. This way.
Up. Is there a way to get around?
Okay, that looked like a shotgun. It's not a shotgun.
I have a shotgun.
Did you have any favorite maps or levels in this game, Garrett?
The running away level at towards the end.
Oh, number 11.
I don't remember.
The warthog.
When you're escaping, everything's like falling apart.
Okay, so the last level.
The last level.
Yeah.
We did a straight run through of the campaign. I don't know how long it took us, but
I miss the days where I could just, play games for hours on end and not have to worry about anything.
true.
If we have any youngins watching, don't grow up.
Youngins.
Youngins.
We're not that old.
I feel pretty old.
For yourself. You're the oldest one, Jared.
Yes.
Yeah,
What's wrong with you two?
I have less time left in my 20s than I do more, and that is just the weirdest thing when I realized that.
I think the difference here is because I don't have a kid.
Yeah, it's true.
Nope, it's just because you're older. Like you should.
Older, wiser.
You're avoiding it.
Bye, Garrett.
Oh,
Okay,
I didn't want you here anyways.
here, come look over the edge.
I'm trying. You're shooting at us.
That was
Hey, you're here.
Going after the thrusters. Shake them off, Lieutenant.
Did you ever do a legendary playthrough or anything like that?
I think we did hard. I don't think we did legendary.
I think heroic is probably one of the best ways to play these games, like the most well-balanced ways. It definitely is for Halo 2. Like if you're looking for a challenge but don't want to tear your hair out, I feel like heroic's the way to go, the hard mode and not, full-on hardest legendary.
That makes sense. I think
Forward.
it wasn't until
Yeah.
like maybe 5 years ago that I started playing games on the hardest difficulty.
Oh,
Regardless.
12.
Yeah, I will do that for some games like the Batman Arkham games. Those are ones where I will readily play that on the hardest difficulty because honestly it's not that hard.
Right.
And I like to push myself on difficulty. I recently beat Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I played a good chunk of that on the most difficult difficulty, and I hated every moment of it. So I dropped some of the difficulty settings, and it made it way better while still being a bit of a challenge. What am I getting shot by?
Up above.
Jeremy, how do you do difficulty?
It definitely varies game to game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that you guys are a little crazy that you try to play things on the hard as hard as you can, but
I think I have to because of Dark Souls. Like,
And that's my
Yeah.
case in point. That's my perfect example. Dark Souls. I understand the appeal to it, but at the same time, why play that game that's already super hard and make it even harder for yourself?
Here's the thing about Dark Souls. I actually don't think Dark Souls is all that difficult. I just think it's really opaque, and mechanically, it's not as difficult as people make it out to be. We have to go somewhere, but I don't remember where. Aha, to the door. Mechanically, Dark Souls is not as difficult as people often make it out to be, but it just doesn't explain any of its systems very well. Not that you need like a text screen every time a new mechanic is brought up, but like there's some level of explanation. Most things are gonna like they're gonna need some level of explanation that Dark Souls just refuses to provide. And I think that opaqueness makes it way more difficult than the game should be. What are we doing? This is not the correct place.
I killed someone.
Yeah. Because Dark Souls doesn't have any difficulty settings, which is the interesting thing about it. Everybody plays it the same. Like everybody hits the same. You have the same levels of health, based on whatever your player level is and what your stats are. But like the actual like gameplay itself, once is mostly like timing based. It's kind of like Punch Out, where as soon as you learn the patterns and attacks of the different like enemies, it becomes actually fairly trivial at times to play Dark Souls. And I think that's a really interesting way to approach difficulty. Games that you can change the difficulty settings I try to play those as much as I can on like the intended quote unquote difficulty, which is often normal, but sometimes that's hard. And I like to increase the difficulty where it feels like I'm being challenged, but still having fun with it.
Right. I think the challenge for Dark Souls is the idea of you have to figure out where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do. The mechanics, like you said, are super easy. The difficulty is in that. So I bump up game difficulties because they're more straightforward. As I die. They're more straightforward, and so it's easier to be like, oh, this is super easy.
Yeah.
But just add more bosses, add more enemies, let my health regen less.
Yeah. That's the kind of difficulty changes. I think I've talked about this a little bit before somewhere else on the channel, so have fun looking that up, super fans. But I don't really like it when games' idea of difficulty is changing basically like values, like this enemy now hits for like 200 damage instead of 100 damage. I think that's kind of a bad way to adjust it. It's a really artificial way to adjust difficulty. I think a much more interesting way is when you change AI behaviors. Something that what was the Jedi Fallen Order did was it changed how often enemies would attack. Oh no, you guys!
What?
So, I had a cloaking thing. I was gonna go hit this guy in the back. There we go. Yeah, that's all right. We saved it. Oh no, I'm gonna get killed by a grunt. Ah, damn it. But Jedi Fallen Order changed the AI behaviors to change how often they would attack, how aggressive they were, and I thought that was really more interesting because the amount that they would hit for was still the same, but it just sort of changed kind of the nature of when they would hit, which was fun.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think I noticed that.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily something I look at every time.
Sure.
I will definitely say the games that I seem to play on an easier difficulty are the ones that are more story based, because I'm playing for the story, not for a challenge. And the more that I die because of whatever kind of way the developers set up the difficulty, the less I get to experience the story.
Right.
There will be a great deal of hardship on the road ahead.
Yeah, that makes sense. That I totally agree with. Also, there are some games where, depending on what you're like, you as the character are supposed to be able to do, that I'll change difficulties on. For instance, The Witcher 3, like in universe, The Witcher is, like a total like beast and can just tear everything up in like 1 to 2 hits. I played through most of Witcher 3 on a harder difficulty level, and while that was fun mechanically, I found like I didn't really feel like a Witcher, and then I dropped the difficulty down and was killing a lot of like the grunt enemies in a few hits, and like, ooh, this feels a lot better. This feels more like intended. And if I could rebalance that game's difficulty to where enemies hit hard but die easily, and like same thing for like the player where they could hit hard and die easily, I think I would do that, but I didn't have the know-how to do that, and I'm sure somebody probably has made a mod for that where they could do that, but that's kind of how I wish that game was more like.
I'd say the same when it comes to the Batman games. I felt the exact same way. It's like you're Batman, and you're going after thugs. Like, I understand when you're fighting the main villains, but these thugs, like, you're getting, if you play on a harder difficulty, you're getting decimated in combat. And it's like, that's not thematic to Batman. He can't get taken out by a thug.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So all that to say, developers, start adding more options to let players customize their difficulty.
It's I will say this, the thing that's really weird that probably turned me off the most to harder difficulties is actually Madden. And it's because of the way that they set theirs up for how you perform. Is if you play on all Madden, the hardest difficulty, it's not a thing of where, oh,
This place
the
become your home.
the opponent plays better. It's no, they make it to where you as a player play worse.
Yeah.
And that's how they make it harder, where if you check like their sliders for gameplay difficulty on all Madden, they've lowered your stats down and just left the computer AI as the same. And it's like, that's not how you make it harder. Making it to where the game goes against me just makes it harder for me to hit people, or I mean to throw a pass or to run. That just doesn't make it fun at all. So I think that really turned it off for me with any game to play on a harder difficulty, because I just assume that's what everyone else does too.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, we should probably wrap that up since we completed a level. That's been this episode of Legendary. I feel like we did really good. Be sure to join us next time when we take on Savo Highway. Thank you for watching, and please do keep an eye on your health bar.